That's sports for now. Tina?
Thanks, Mark. The forecast for tonight calls for partly cloudy skies with showers and thunderstorms, low of 60. Tomorrow we'll have showers and thunderstorms with a high of 75. Thunderstorms continue tomorrow night with a low of 58. More showers on Wednesday with a high of 69. Thank you for joining us for the updated edition of the SIU Night Report. For Mark Carvel, I'm Tina Norris. Good night.
City Manager Jeff Doherty says the budget says Carbondale is in desperate need of a new revenue source. But Councilman John Yao contends that instead of raising taxes, the revenue could just as easily be obtained by cutting the fat from some city departments. Next Tuesday, Councilman Yao and Councilman Keith Tuxhorn will both be up for re-election in the City Council primary. From Carbondale, this is Mark Carvel for the SIU Night Report.
Television stations and the corporate.
Good evening and welcome to the updated edition of the SIU Night Report. I'm Tina Norris. May Day is celebrated in several countries today.
And I'm Mark Carvel. In sports, PJ Carlesimo says no thanks to Kentucky basketball.
Around the world, laborers gathered to mark May Day, International Labor Day. The Soviet Union held a traditional parade, but without the usual show of military strength. In China, officials used the occasion to try to quell weeks of student uprisings with an appeal to workers to resist instability. And despite a ban on demonstrations, a rally in Soviet Armenia was peaceful. But in other countries, the May Day mood was more restless. There were riots in South Korea, Czechoslovakia, and in Poland. Protesters shouted "Down with communism" and held their own parades. Oliver North's Iran-Contra jury still has not reached a verdict. The jury has deliberated for a total of 45.5 hours and has given no clue why the verdict is taking so long. Judge Gerhard Gazelle says he may dismiss the jury and declare a mistrial if news media succeed in forcing the disclosure of a sealed document in the case. A lawyer representing the media says the jury was allowed to see the information, so the public should be able to see it too. The trial of a man accused with raping and killing a 10-year-old girl may begin soon. Jury selection for the trial of Cecil Sutherland began today. Sutherland, formerly of Dix, is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and single counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault and aggravated kidnapping. Judge Layman Krause moved the trial to only in Richland County to avoid prejudicial publicity. Krause has ordered attorneys in the case not to speak to the media. Potential jurors in the case are being interviewed individually, and the process is expected to take several days. A federal judge in Danville says the Illinois death penalty law is unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Harold Baker lifted the death penalty imposed on Charles Silligy, who was convicted in 1980 for murdering 2 women in Danville. Baker's decision could remove more than 100 inmates from death row at Menard in southern Illinois. An official in the Attorney General's office says Baker's ruling is likely to be overturned and the capital punishment law upheld on appeal. And searchers continue to comb the waters off of Japan for 2 U.S. Navy submarine crewmen. The men were washed from the deck of their submarine during surface operations today. A 3rd crewman was swept away when a huge wave crashed across the sub. He was quickly rescued and is being treated for mild hypothermia. And the countdown for the Space Shuttle Atlantis will start on Thursday. Officials at the Kennedy Space Center today rescheduled the launch that was supposed to take place last Friday. The launch had to be aborted because of 2 faulty fuel system parts. The new launch time will be Thursday at 1:48 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And in sports, Mark, Kentucky needs a new basketball coach.
That's right, Tina. There are some things money can't buy, and for Seton Hall coach P.J. Carlesimo, loyalty is one of them. Carlesimo says he's turning down the opportunity to coach at the University of Kentucky to continue his work leading the Pirates. This past season, Carlesimo led the Pirates all the way to the championship game before falling to Michigan. He says he's sticking with Seton Hall because it stuck with him when 2 years ago, some fans were calling for his resignation. It was expected that Carlesimo was to replace Eddie Sutton at UK after he resigned at the end of this season. And on the ice, the Stanley Cup semifinals began tonight in Montreal as the Canadiens squared off against the Philadelphia Flyers for the Whale Conference Final. The final for Montreal tonight, Flyers 3, Canadiens 1. And closer to home, the Blackhawks, yes, the Blackhawks, will travel to Calgary to face the Flames tomorrow for the best-of-7 game Campbell Conference Final. Elsewhere in hockey, the Boston Bruins are without a head coach. After 3 seasons in Boston, Terry O'Reilly has resigned. The Cardinals are in San Diego to face the Padres. The Redbirds just completed their longest homestand since 1968, in which they went an amazing 11-5. The Cards are currently all alone atop the National League East. Tonight they're facing their ex-slugger Jack Clark for the first time since losing him to the Yankees in free agency before the '88 season. And the Cubs are taking on the Giants at Candlestick tonight. Going for the mound for Chicago is Rick Sutcliffe, and for the Giants it's Kelly Downs. And it's Player of the Week time for the Major Leagues. Senior Circuit honors go to Montreal's Tim Raines. Raines helped the Expos to a 3-game 3-2 record last week while batting .438 with 10 RBIs and 3 stolen bases. Junior Circuit honors go to Seattle's Ken Griffey Jr. Griffey batted .600 with 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases for the Mariners. And Tina, Golden State guard Mitch Richmond was named the NBA's Rookie of the Year today.
Thanks, Mark. Let's take a look at the forecast for tonight. Variable cloudiness and cold, lows in the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow will be partly sunny and cool, highs in the lower 60s. Tomorrow night, fair and cool, a low around 40. And for Wednesday, we'll have increasing cloudiness and it'll be warm, highs in the upper 60s. Thank you for joining us for the updated edition of the SIU Night Report. For Mark Carvel, I'm Tina Norris. Good night.